Good morning, guys. Welcome to FYI. Wherever you're joining us from, for your information, it is the 12th day of December. The season is upon us. We have so many other issues that we're contending with. You can't even feel the Christmas spirit, as we say colloquially here in Guyana. Can't even feel the Christmas spirit, folks. We're gonna try. We're gonna try. We got lots to cover at our end. We're starting the morning with a cup of black, strong coffee. How are you guys starting the morning at your end? We're going to be touching on some of the issues. Yesterday in the National Assembly, we know a motion was shut down. And one of the things we learned in the National Assembly yesterday afternoon in the course of that is that this administration, this government, this regime does not have a migrants policy. So we can focus a little bit upon that this morning as well. But good to see Siobhan McDonald here with us. Camille Cox is here too, and Cheryl Glenn. All our favorite people are here this morning, and we're delighted to have each and every one of you. Guys, you were here early. Why don't you take the opportunity and share the live? Smash that emoji button as well, folks. Camille, we got a meeting this afternoon. We'll be happy to see you. Would be happy to see you, Camille. Good to have you on the live this morning. Do let us know how Region 6 is. Good to have each and every one of you. Joylyn Cook is here. Fennel Innes. Pierre Claxton is here. Vesta Hardy Rajkumar is here as well. Good to have you, Joylyn and Camille. And Camille, that meeting is going to be via, it's going to be a virtual meeting. Let me put it in that way. A virtual meeting. Camille, you know, they're all the usual places you get your information from. So check those places and you're going to see that link. Folks, we're just making sure that we are shared to all of the valid and credible places. I think we have done that. Joylyn, good to see you on the live this morning as well, and Colin, Sandy, and the other folks who are joining us. Good to have you on the live as well, guys. Morning, a very good morning, each and every one of you. Whichever page, whichever profile, whichever social media space you're getting this news from. I heard it's an establishment here in Georgetown where we broadcast live from. It's closing down. It was so sad. We know the owners, and it was so sad. It is so sad to see them close the doors. We're going to talk a little bit about that too. Good to have you, Sukchan Sudhari. Jennifer Taras is on the live as well. All the other folks who are joining us. Good to have you folks here with us this morning. Lots to discuss, folks. Lots to discuss. Debbie Hohenkirk is here with us as well. Luan Hall, we see you there, Luan, and we see Cheryl Glenn as well, and all the other folks who are joining us today, joining us this morning. Good to have you. David Papin, good to have you. Yolanda Thomas is here with us too. Good to have you, Yolanda. How are you guys starting the day? Anybody having some oats this morning? Like I feel a little craving for oats or some, maybe some ginger and lemon. Some ginger and lemon. Folks, Debbie is joining us here. Debbie Collins is on the live as well. Debbie, how are the plants doing? How are you doing this morning too, Debs? Do let us know. Debbie Collins, good to have you, Debbie. And Yolanda, thank you for that contribution via YouTube. Thank you so much, Yolanda. Folks, you know, when we are live, you can send us a contribution on YouTube. There's a dollar sign in the comment section, and you purchase a sticker or something like that if you click in it, and part of the proceeds there comes to us. Thank you so much, Yolanda, for that. Sandra Ford, we see you, Sandra. Good morning to you. Sandra said she's locked in. Good to have Sandra and John and all the other folks. Sukshan wants to know how the country is. Well, it's quite a descent, folks. I feel like folding up my feet this morning. I don't feel like being proper at all. Adil Semple, Adele Semple, good to have you, Adele. Good to have you, Debbie and Debbie Apple. All the Debbies are here with us this morning. Good to have you, Luan and Sonia Massey Cobb. Says it's cold as crap in Maryland. So I hear, folks. So I hear. It's cold as crap in Maryland. You know, as we are in Maryland and we're talking about Sonia, we lost Dr. Carissa Etienne a couple of days ago. I haven't even had time to reflect properly, you know, on the loss of the former PAHO, not Secretary General, Director General, I think it is. did some excellent work, folks, and helped to really bring down the death rate during COVID-19, handled that pandemic phenomenally. And they found Dr. Etienne, unresponsive in her home. So sad, so sad. Fantastic, fantastic public health official, had a passion for that kind of work, that vocation, and served well, served well. So we're sending you some work, Sonia, some work from this side of the Atlantic, and Elizabeth, Lorraine, and Margaret. How's the temperature there in North Carolina, South Carolina, Somerset, Sparkle City? How is the weather there, folks? Sending you guys some warmth. Sending you guys the world of warmth. Veronica Primo Rollins, how is the weather in Atlanta? How is the weather in Georgia? Lauren Ali Cock says, great rising, saints. I love that. I love that. That's so energetic. Great rising, saints. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. Maxine Still and Veronica Primo Rollins is here with us as well. Sean of Fortune is here too. Guys, wherever you're joining us from, do us the privilege as you come on to share that live. Joylyn and Desiree Manuel, Debbie Collins, Amita Carroll is here too. Good to have each and every one of you on the live with us. Folks, like I can do it a little vacation. Like I can do it a little vacation. You all know how. Yolanda, we see you there. Cheryl Glenn, we see you there. Tessa Isaac, Scribs Andy, we see you there as well. Folks, we have had a full year. We have had a full year, whether it's traveling in Guyana, whether it's being overseas, and we hope to do much more next year, all in the hope of bringing you guys credible, valid information. Alexis Tramley Richmond out there in Brooklyn, in New York. How is the weather where you are? Clear. How is the weather? Good to see you on the live this morning. Siobhan McDonald says it's 36 in Brooklyn. I'm going to hazard a guess that's not hot. I'm going to hazard a guess that is not hot at all. Guys, we're so happy. That's a good cup of coffee. We're so happy to have you all on the live this morning. You all know how we say. Great to have each and every one of you folks on the live this morning. We're dealing with a number of issues, folks. I think we want to get right to it. A number of issues we're dealing with this morning. I don't know, some of the graphic seem to be failing us. A number of the issues we're dealing with this morning, folks, and we want to get to that right away. We ain't gonna waste too much time this morning, but we want to get to some of that right away. Good folks. Let me see if we can improve. We want you all to be seeing us properly. Folks, we're going to start with the National Assembly. You all know we had a motion yesterday in the National Assembly. And, these folks, look. They try with us, huh? Didn't want us to discuss this motion on actions to be taken in light of Venezuelan aggression against Guyana. Right? Didn't want us to debate it. Did not want us to be debating this motion. Right? They want us to be debating it. And so, even though they give the leader of the opposition some time to speak to this motion, Margaret and Yonet Etwa, we would have rather a debate in the National Assembly. Margaret, what is the term again? A cross-fertilization of ideas? How is Rio doing? How is Rio doing? Sending some warmth in your direction, Margaret and Rio, John and Claudette, Lynette, Helen. How are you folks doing this morning? They didn't want us debating this matter. And it was a motion that both sides could have contributed to. They didn't even treat us to the courtesy of the support we gave to the government on their motion. And that is one of the things that Starbuck News has raised this morning, this whole notion of our motto, one people, one nation, one destiny. We're far removed from that. And that is why we didn't support us on this motion and actions to be taken in light of Venezuelan aggression against Guyana. Because we talk, they talk. Basically, that's what Starbuck News says in this morning's editorial. But we don't walk the walk, folks. We don't walk the walk. And that is why, to even give you some space in the National Assembly to discuss these issues, they find it hard to do that. They find it very hard to do that. And it's very troubling, Leslie and Charles. Debbie Collins, Lace MC. Who is Lace MC? Am I pronouncing it right? Look like you have an accent over the E there. Jennifer Bob. Jennifer, how are you doing? Great to have you on the live this morning. Jennifer says, good morning to Guyanese brothers and sisters and the FYI family from Brooklyn. Have a blessed day. We receive that in the spirit, Jennifer. I received that in my spirit this morning. Have a blessed day. I received that. So the speaker said the motion was not urgent. It wasn't urgent. Well, the co-signer of that motion, the co-sponsor of that motion was MP Ganesh Mahipal. The motion was brought by the leader of the opposition. And the co-signer of the motion, and I sat down on the sidelines of the National Assembly yesterday to talk about that and some other issues, some other allied issues. Folks, we've given the government our support on this border issue in defense of our territorial integrity. And they said we're one on this. And we bring a motion to discuss this aggression by Venezuela. And this is not urgent. Claudette Bovell, Chandel Moses, Debbie Collins, Leon Blair. They said it's not urgent, folks. There is no country on earth, I say, like Guyana. None whatsoever. So on the sidelines of the National Assembly's sitting yesterday, on the sidelines of that sitting, MP Ganesh Mahipal and I sat down and discussed, touched on this and some other issues. Here's what the Honorable Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal said. Yes, sir.
So we're here with Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal, who shadows local government and regional development. Ganesh, you co-signed this motion concerning Venezuela's aggression in relation to Essequibo. You're from Essequibo. There's somewhere that's very near and dear to you. What are your thoughts?
Well, Cheryl, let me say first of all that the people of Essequibo are very worried. The people of Essequibo are very concerned, and they believe that they are not getting enough information to guarantee them their safety. And we in the opposition, we also are not getting enough information from the government with reference of making us feel as though we are really unified on this matter. Now, let me make it very clear. The opposition from the outset has said that we are prepared to work with government on this particular issue, this Guyana-Venezuela controversy. The government, I thought, would have extended this hand of unity in action so that the participation at the level of the policy, where we formulate positions after meaningful discussion, exchanging ideas. You know, you were in a room and you back and forth on ideas, and then you come with a unified position. What would have happened? I thought that is what this unity is about. But we have a government that I believe only wanted unity on paper, and they believe that they can fetch this by themselves. And in so doing, they have caused our people to be more tense than ever. And that is very unfortunate. The motion that was presented to get action. We wanted, for example, for there to be a high-level border security commission, so that would have allowed the space for us to have this degree of discussion and come out with unified positions. We also wanted the Essequibo region to be populated with Guyanese and for us to monitor our brothers and sisters from Venezuela. So there should be no dialogue on the border controversy. What there should be dialogue on are other matters that are of interest to our neighborly relationship. We are existing in the same hemisphere. We are South American countries. We are very close to the Caribbean, and we are in the Western hemisphere. So we cannot afford to not talk with each other. We can have trade relationship. We can talk about even the migrants who are coming over here in large numbers, and we can even talk about other matters that are related to ensuring that both our peoples are treated in a manner where they can be lifted out of any misery they find themselves in. But there should be no discussion on the border issue because that will be settled by the International Court of Justice. I must say, and for the public to know, that President Ali accepted this invitation, and after his acceptance, then he notified the leader of the opposition. So the leader of the opposition really and truly had no other position save and except to say, okay, go. But ensure that you don't discuss matters that can compromise or cause any problem with our territorial integrity and our sovereignty.
All right. Can I say next with this first?
I wanted to say also that on a different matter, that my condolences to the families of the 5 soldiers that passed. They are indeed heroes. And I must say that I admire the fact that we have named a roadway or a highway after these heroes. But it hurt me when I saw that no less a person than the Prime Minister of this country, the President of this country, ministers of government, and even Guyana Defense Force personnel walking on a depiction of our Guyana flag. Now, the Guyana flag is not just a piece of cloth, nor is it just 5 colors that were beautifully put together. It is a symbol of nationhood. It represents who I am. It represents who you are. It represents who we are. And we must hold that flag in the highest of esteem. And it really and truly bothered me to see that they first of all drew the flag on the ground, demarcated it with the 5 colors there on the ground. After that, they held a ceremony where people were walking over it as though it means nothing. And that is an embarrassment. It is a desecration to our national symbol and nationhood, and it must be condemned in the fullest of ways. And Mark Phillips, Irfan Ali, the GDF officers, and everybody who placed their feet on that symbol of nationhood should apologize to this country. And God, may I even say that they should even step down if they can't understand the importance of the Guyana flag. It was a shame. It was atrocious.
Yeah.
It was wickedness.
Thank you very much, Ken.
Thank you.
So we hear it.
Yeah. And there you have it, folks. My conversation with MP Ganesh Mahipal. Some folks are very serious about the flag, and some folks just don't care. Some folks just don't care. You know. Yeah. So the Speaker of the National Assembly didn't believe that motion yesterday to discuss the actions to be taken in light of Venezuela's aggression against Guyana. He didn't think it was urgent. Though he did give the leader of the opposition some space to explain, personal explanation. That's the theme it came on the agenda, personal explanation. But the debate, no, that's not urgent. That is not urgent at all. So that's one of the things we focusing on this morning. And we did say We're lending our support on this issue, saying that we are one on the defense of our territorial sovereignty and integrity. But they feel different. And that's why in this morning's Starbuck News editorial, it's interesting what Starbuck News says about oneness. It says that oneness must not only be trumpeted when our neighbors to the west begin to act up. We must leave them in a condition where they must search for fissures in our togetherness to find, to their frustration, that in the matter of our territorial integrity, none exists. Venezuela must be left searching for chinks in our domestic behavioral armor and finding none. But the fact remains, there's a lot of chinks, there are a lot of fissures. Because the people talk a good talk, and you all know this, but they can't walk the walk. And that is the challenge that we have. You heard Mr. Norton talk about, and Ganesh even there mentioned it, about this committee that was supposed to be put in place to look at this territorial matter as a collective. In all this time, you've had one meeting every day. Nicolas Maduro, president of Venezuela, ramps up, the ante. And not sure too. And we dilly-dallying here, shilly-shallying here, because there is a concerted effort. Dexter, Sherwin, Peggy Elias. Good morning, Peggy. There's a concerted effort not to give any space, politically or otherwise, to the opposition. And that's why this motion was shut down. I see International Attorney, Mr. Peters, is on the live with us this morning asking the question, whether it's the Speaker or is the PPP administration? He or they, it's both one and the same. One and the same. Because if there were signals being sent from the top that we really won on this issue, then the Speaker could take his cue from there. And I'm certain he must have consulted with Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance. He wouldn't do this on his own. He don't got the kind of skill. He ain't got the kind of clout to act in his own like that. So Starbuck News again, going at this issue that, we got a lot of things dividing us and we're not living up to this creed, this motto, one people, one nation, one destiny. We talk a good talk. But every chance the PPP got to push the knife in some more, they do that. To gouge you, to goad you. They do that. Interesting reading. Today's Starbuck News editorial, and I want to recommend it. I want to recommend it to you folks. I want to recommend to you folks. A lot of other things happening, and in today's papers as well. We see this whole issue of the 6.5% increase in wages and salaries. A lot of folks are still concerned. A lot of folks are still concerned. A lot of allied workers say too that this should be extended to them. For instance, some folks at GPL, contract employees at GPL, reached out to us and say, this benefit should be applied to them too. But they don't see it applying. They said, all of us suffering in this country, all of us suffering. Folks, where all this oil money going? Where's all of it going? It's troubling. Siobhan McDonald, Kyle, where all of it going? Rosanna, Penelope, where's all this money going? 6.5? 6.5 alone? GHK Lal, writing columnist. He says it's shocking. That's what he says. It is shocking. Insulting, pitiful, shocking. These are some of the milder words I have used to describe the recent pay increase for public servants. Teachers found themselves lumped together into that broad band of 54,000 Guyanese, and they are hopping mad. What to make of 6.5 in this Guyana, right? In the Guyana that is of today. What to make of that? I heard a friend saying recently that we got the lowest inflation in the world or something. Madness! Madness. What to make of that? That's what folks want to know. GHK Lal saying it's shocking. All of these things we're grappling with, the economic front, the border front, all of these issues we're grappling with. And I did tell you, coming out of National Assembly yesterday, we seem to be losing the battle on our migrants. And as clear as ever was, there is no policy, folks. And you know what? Robeson Bennett admitted that yesterday. We ain't got no policy. And the migrants streaming through our borders. We ain't got no policy. None whatsoever. Right? We don't have any. And I'm happy. You see, folks, I know there's some of you who said, why you all even bother to go to the National Assembly? Why do you even bother? Right? But there is some benefit. Now, these questions about migration and migrants streaming through our borders were posed by Member of Parliament Tabitha Sarabo Haley and the Minister of Home Affairs, under who this portfolio falls, responded. Now, we don't believe these figures are correct at all. We believe these figures are very conservative. As a matter of fact, you're going to hear about 20, 21,000 Venezuelan migrants in particular we have with us. We believe these figures are very, very conservative. Somebody cooking the books. We know it's early morning. We know we're in the kitchen. Somebody cooking the books, folks. You know, real estimates go up as high as 100,000 Venezuelan migrants with us. The question was put to the Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Ben, yesterday about this, the number of migrants we have with us. A post by Member of Parliament Tabitha Sarabo Haley. Take a look, folks. Take a listen.
Can the Honourable Minister, same Minister of Home Affairs, inform this House of the number of registered Venezuelan migrants in region number 9 and in other regions as of June 16th and July 11th, 2023?
Honourable Minister, the question, Mr. Chairman, is in two parts. I want to thank the honourable member again for her question. For Region 9, in the period, it was 1,348 persons. For Region 8, 10,671 persons for the reference period. For Region 2, 3,255 persons. Region 3, 1,114 persons. Region 4, 1,250 persons. Region 7, 4,099 persons. And Region 8, 80 persons. Thank you, Minister. Honourable Member Ms. Hanley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House of whether or not there's any process to determine the Venezuelan migrants, the numbers that you just stated, whether any of them have any military background as Venezuelans?
Honourable Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Persons come to Guyana at different levels of former occupation. And in a general sense, we wouldn't be able to say for each one of them who may have had a background in military or policing services. Certainly there are a few, we have some information. But I would say indeed that some checks are being made or are being made on some persons who we are aware would have come into the country.
So you heard that, folks. Some of them do have a military background. You know, we love our Venezuelan brothers and sisters as part of humanity. But this is the 10th time where the government of Venezuela is claiming more than half of our country, and we cannot take This influx of migrants, you know, without question, without question, we just can't do it. We just can't do it. And I'm seeing a lot of you folks, right? A lot of you disagree with those figures. A lot of you don't believe those figures. Right now, they probably got 21,000 Venezuelan migrants on Regent Street alone. And they're going to argue with us that nationally, 21,000 migrants. I saw folks floating figures, 35,000. 35,000. And then the question was posed about the policy. About the policy. Is there a policy? I heard the minister say that the process is being modernized. We didn't go further than that. What is modernization? Didn't go further than that. And then he's asked the question on whether they have a policy for migrants. And he shadowbox. His low energy self, shadowbox around the issue. But there's no policy. He gone back to the previous administration and who was passing through and who was passing in and passing out. But really and truly, in 3 years, Gwenard Anderson, Yolanda Thomas, Belinda Hall, Anderson, all the Andersons are with us this morning. There is no policy. That's the short of it. There is no policy. And this is the National Assembly where we get to put these questions to the government. Take a listen as Member of Parliament Tabitha Sarabo Haley drills down on this whole issue of migrants and some of the responses and whether there's a policy that's guiding the government's decision on migrants. Take a look, folks. Take a look and take a listen.
And the Honourable Minister states whether the government has taken any steps to modernize the institutional and legislative framework associated with migration in Guyana since 2020.
Honorable Minister Volunteers. Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable members. I want to thank the honorable members for a question. In respect of the institutional framework related to migration, both the Immigration Department and the Immigration Services Department have been modernized. Staffing has increased. The work that they are doing are now, particularly for the Immigration Services Department, is being put on electronic platforms for proper recovery of information from the databases. With respect to the legislative framework, since 2020, we have not had a specific instrument or bill placed in the Parliament itself, but we are working at issues relating to the migration policy, of which I am sure a bill or bills will be made in this Parliament. Member?
Mr. Speaker, I struggle to hear half of what was said. So forgive me if my follow-up is seeking clarity on what was already said, because I wasn't hearing everything here. But can the Honourable Minister state whether there has been any formal collaborative process, whether any formal collaborative process has been established between Home Affairs and Legal Affairs and Foreign Affairs to deal with the changes that may be needed in the legislative framework as relates to migration?
Honourable Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have had discussions from time to time between the three parties the Honourable Member mentioned, but as yet, as we work on the issues of the total migration policy package, we have not made a subcommittee of itself to deal with it in specificity.
Honorable Member, Ms. Halley.
Just a further follow-up, sir. I understand that the legislative framework may take some time. That has not happened as yet. But has there been any new policy initiated by the Ministry of Home Affairs, given the obvious influx and increase in immigration into Guyana since 2020? Any new policy? Yeah, but you came into government in 2020.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, at the level of the ministry itself, on the question of policy, as it were, we have been working very hard to make sure that those who are purporting to be migrants to Guyana are indeed migrants to Guyana. We've had situations in the past where we inherited a situation where thousands of persons are coming to Guyana, purporting to be migrants, but not staying in Guyana. And requiring for only to the year 2019, some 19,000 or so persons of a particular country came through the country and cannot be accounted for. And that goes across the board for a number of countries. But we're working hard to make the work we do there more efficacious, and that we should have integrity, and that we should not have to resort to chasing down people and doing investigations. Even though we have a backlog in respect of that, if we want to properly understand what happened in the previous administration in respect of this matter, we do not want to repeat, and we work it to make sure that the system is much better managed and is outside of the influence of corruption at all levels.
Thank you, Minister.
So, folks, there is no policy. three years in, there's no policy. Naomi, Elizabeth, Margaret, Jacqueline, Valletta, Rastaman, they're working to make the process more efficacious. 0 points for Robson. 0 points. Tracy Clark, they're working to make the process more efficacious. Montel Ward, Lois, Levans, they're working to make the work more efficacious. No policy. That's the government we have, sadly, folks. That is the government that we have. They're losing the battle with migrants. Folks, we know as night turns today, the only reason why the people comes to the National Assembly, it's more money to spend. They want, they laid the financial papers, in the House yesterday. They want $24 billion in supplemental funds. $24 billion. But 6.5 for teachers. Right? But boardness, take $1 billion. Right? Take $1 billion. The folks doing the what school is it again? Bamia Primary School. Take 600 million. But public servants, 6.5. They want 25 billion. And mind you, since the budget in February of this year, the government has already gotten close to probably a trillion Guyana dollars. The budget was well over 700 billion, and then they came back for more money since then during summer, and then now they want 24 billion. Yolanda Thomas asked the right question: to do what? To do what? They want 24 billion. Good folks, what madness is this? 24 billion with a capital bill. 24 billion. Yesterday's Starbucks News had their continuing series where they asked members of the public, Guyanese citizens, how the cost of living and you. And it's a one team. This is now probably more than 50 weeks. Starbucks News has been running this series. 50 weeks, every Monday I think it's posted. Every Monday. And there's one theme running through it. Things hard, things brown, things black. Things tough, things tight. So where all this money going? And it comes, Valerie Clark, Yolanda, Gisela, Roman, where all this money going? Rastaman says, a bank in Dubai. That might make more sense. That might make more logical sense. Elizabeth McCune, Elizabeth, where all this money going? Not in the pockets of the public servant, certainly. Perhaps somewhere else. Rosanna, Greg Anderson, Sukhchand Sudhari, maybe someplace else. Not in the pockets of Guyanese. No way, Jose. Jose, no way. They want 24 billion. So Parliament is meeting again on Thursday, and this is what they're going to meet and pass. They don't need our support. They already have the majority. Spend, baby, spend. Friends, family, favorite, and flatterers. Spend, baby, spend. They want to tell us that only about $60 million have been spent between the president and vice president on overseas trips. You mean 60 million to Dubai? You mean 60 million to Dubai? Ifeanyi alone has gone to Dubai about 10 times for the year. And we spend only 60 million? Only 60 million? Overall? But between the First Lady and Ifeanyi, it's probably about 300. Right now, we have this grave territorial challenge. First Lady in China, sightseeing. Sightseeing. Right? 60 million. 10,000 US shoes, 5,000 US belt, and so on. Folks, I tell you all, in the kitchen, that's why we know somebody cooking the books. Somebody cooking the books, Karen Mohammed. Sukhchand Sudhari, somebody cooking the books. 60 alone, that's a conservative number. That's like the number of migrants. 60 million, very conservative. Very conservative. You can tell somebody else that. Marlon Dharma. Yes, Marlon is asking if the First Lady is still in China. It's still there. Probably can come back for the new year. Still in China. Still in China. You mean the First Lady? Travel expenses is 60 million. You mean the First Lady travel expenses is 60 million. Right? And just to show you how this life is, the entire budget for the leader of the opposition to do his work is probably less than 30 million for the year. And then boy, travel alone is 60 million. Right? Travel alone is 60 million. Yeah. So we're watching that, folks. We're watching that. They're telling us also the uh, surviving GDF soldiers who were involved in that horrific crash, that they are going to be honored. And part of what Priya Manik Chan said yesterday in National Assembly is that they're going to leave it up to them how they want to be honored, as against saying they can name a street after them or something like that. We're told that one of the officers have received burns, a broken rib, but they're both recovering. That is the latest information we have on this horrific helicopter crash. The Guyana Defense Force helicopter crash has claimed the lives of 5 of our men in uniform. 5 of them, and the surviving 2, they are receiving medical attention and recovering. Love to hear from them. What were the circumstances surrounding this helicopter crash? I'd love to hear from their own lips, as they know it, what went down. I don't want this government to tell me anything, especially about this. I want to hear from these guys who were there. I want to hear from them. Dolly and Cheryl Sampson, Ram Singh, Suchan Sudhari. I want to hear from them themselves. What went down? But we wish them the best, and we pray that they come back to full health shortly. We pray that they come back to full health. They're going to be honored, and we're watching to see how the government does this. Right? We wish that they come back to full health. Folks, wherever you're joining us from, share that live for us. Smash that emoji button, and we crave your indulgence to partner with us, folks. We got some bills lingering like a malignant sore we want to get rid of. Remember to partner with us and help us to keep going. This is how we do the show. We ain't getting no subsidy from this government, highlighting all these issues for them. Not a subsidy. We depend totally on your generosity. That's why we could talk the things. So we crave your indulgence, so partner with us so we can keep on keeping on good folks. Some other information we're tracking, guys, in the 592. Some additional information. The Court of Appeal is to rule on the elections petition next week. I can fed up with that. I'm not even going to lose any sleep. Not as before. The Court of Appeal, I think, is set to rule on elections petition 88, right? When before the local Court of Appeal. This is not the CCJ, which has a Court of Appeal jurisdiction, but the local Court of Appeal, the election petition, I think it's 88, comes up for a decision out of the Court of Appeal next year. Not losing any sleep over that. When it happens, it happens. Moving on. Cosmos, business establishment owned by the De Ramos in the Movitown Mall, is closing its doors. Lovely family. Husband died tragically in an accident 2 or 3 years ago. And his wife was holding the business together. And a Facebook post that we saw, she says that due to some of the constraints brought on by some additional investment by Movitown, has put a strain on their own business, Cosmos, and then they're being forced to close the doors, and they cannot say whether they'll be reopening at any different location right now, but that they are weighing their options. But the location at Movitown, Cosmos at Movitown, is closing, and this is indeed sad. This has become a hangout spot for lots of Guyanese, and we're sad to see them go. Yeah, sad to see them go. Yeah, one of the things we're following this morning. And then, folks, we learned last evening that gunmen opened fire on veteran journalist Travis Chase. I got to talk with Travis about this. I want to talk with... It was only I could cover Travis. Travis can't cover Travis. I got to cover Travis on this story. I want to talk with Travis on this, and what were the circumstances surrounding it. We know that he was getting out of a vehicle in the vicinity of Durban and Brisingen Road last evening, when it is being reported that gunmen opened fire on his vehicle. This is the wild, wild west. I'm so happy that our brother is alive and well, and he wasn't hit. Very happy about that. Right? Very happy about this. Wild, wild west. So many things on so many fronts. You all saw the disposition, the presentation, the energy of the Home Affairs Minister. You understand now why crime is where it is. You understand why now the criminal elements move with impunity. Right? When I was growing up, the elders used to recommend turpentine when you're a little slow. I never really understood what that meant. Thankfully, they've never had to apply to me. Right? But very lethargic and I don't know. And that's not the kind of disposition and energy we want, low energy. That can't fight crime. Robson, you know to yourself, that kind of disposition can't fight crime. You're just holding position because you're just one of the boys. You're a yes man. Oh, you need a strong arm to push back against this madness. You're not safe out there. You're not safe. You know, since that, how many people message me say, be careful. You got to be careful every day in this country. Every day you wake up, you got to be careful because you don't know. You just don't know. You just don't know. Right? You all pray for Travis, folks. Oren Stevens, Venda, Marilyn Lorimer, pray for Travis. Say a prayer for Travis. So what we're following this morning, good folks, some of the other issues, making the wrongs at our end. Folks, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this lineup. And all of this curated and garnered from the news out there. These are some of the headlines making the wrong locally. GRA agents intercept ganja in bed sheets from the US. Narco state has returned. Full-fledged. Live and in living color. GRA agents intercept ganja in bed sheets from the US. Look at this other headline. Police see suspected narcotics at Mackenzie Post Office. Police see suspected narcotics at Mackenzie Post Office. Another headline. Female prison officer nabbed while attempting to smuggle ganja into New Amsterdam prison. All of that narco state has returned. All that is the headlines, social media, the newspapers, making the wrongs in the 592. And then, of course, we did talk about that. GKH Lal shot at this 6.5, dashing the chest of public servants. The Guyana Public Service Union says it deplores the imposition of this 6.5 salary increase. It deplores it. Deplores it. Yeah. Deplores it. A lot of news we're tracking, folks, around the region while as we wrap up, folks, things we're tracking around the region. Look at this. Which is this one? Incorrect one. Incorrect one. And that one should have read that there was a child prostitution ring busted in Trinidad and Jamaica. Apologies there. Child prostitution ring busted in Trinidad and Jamaica. It's a good thing I read the notes. Child prostitution ring busted in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm happy about that. Trafficking is a serious issue in the region and locally as well. And then in Brazil, they're telling us that bird flu has killed over 900 seals and sea lions. Bird flu, 900. In addition to that, folks, in addition to that, I would have you know that they're telling us now, you know those talks for Thursday in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? They're telling us now that Brazilian President Lula Inácio Lula da Silva is no longer going to be observing those proceedings. Lula's staying home. Right? Mind you, Lula got in a little brown bag. A little brown bag from Maduro. We can talk about some of that tonight. Lula getting a little brown bag, folks. Just like Mia and Ralph and so on. Folks, they tell us that in international relations, foreign relations, they're no permanent enemies, no permanent friends. You only got permanent interests. And that's what we're seeing here. Permanent interests. I said about 2 years ago I see folks wrote in Starbucks News, they wrote in the Chronicle, right, that CARICOM has become a cliques, right? Gangs and cliques and sects in CARICOM. Every man to his own. That's not what CARICOM should have been. That's not what our forefathers envisioned it to be. Oh, they get vexed with me. They get parched. And you read the commentators now who talk about his only self-interest in CARICOM. We ahead of our time, you know, Rastaman. Michelle Garrett, Camille Cox. We ahead of our time, you know, Marilyn Lorimer, Marcia Jackman. Lots of them now catching up. There's some stuff we've been reporting on a long time ago. How we treat our women and girls in this country. You know, how we use the roadways and waterways in this country. How we treat each other. The hypocrisy of the installed PPP. Some folks now catching up. And this whole issue with Venezuela didn't create that, it's just exacerbated it. And you see it now more than ever. Because suddenly people want magic. You've been talking one last 3 years now. Right? That's his rhetoric, but his actions tells a different story. Irfan's actions tell us a vastly different story. That's where we're going to leave it this morning, folks. And we're going to see you guys on the next one, on the next broadcast. That's where we're going to leave it. Good to see so many of you on the live this morning, folks. I want to implore you, folks. You got a apologies there, folks. I was saying if you got a juicy piece of story, don't keep it to yourself. Don't do it. It's juicy. Don't keep it to yourself, folks. Share it with us. We got one number we use all the time, 627-6963. 627-6963 is the one number, folks, we use all the time. You got a juicy piece of you got a story for us. Send it there, folks. And remember also to partner with us so that we can keep on going. Folks, we really need your help. I ain't want getting on my knees. You're not getting a little old now. I mightn't get it back. I ain't want getting on my knees and back, but we need your help. Send us a contribution today. Now we're available via Cash App and Zelle. Right? We need to get out of the rut with some bills we have. Get out of the red, folks. Send us a contribution. Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, MMG, MoneyGram, Western Union. Good, folks? And so we can move along. Folks, you need a Justice of the Peace. You need a Commissioner of Votes, Staffy Davis. We want to recommend the Alistair Collins firm. They're right down there on Lamaha Street at the Carrion Mall on the ground floor. They're closer to Waterloo than they are to Camp, but they're between Camp and Waterloo. On Lamaha Street at the Carrion Mall on the ground floor. 649-6410, 649-6410, and 685-6448. 685-6448 for all your documentation needs. Folks, they give excellent service. Excellent service. And if you get excellent service there, y'all tell me. I'll know what to do. Excellent service. 649-6410 and 685-6448. The Alistair Collins firm on the ground floor of the Carlin Mall between Camp and Waterloo Streets on Lamaha Street. Yep. We're going to leave it there, folks. We're going to leave it there today. Sharon Murray and Kyle Bino, Vanilla Garnett, Beryl Crawford. Good to have each and every one of you on the live today, good folks. Good to have you here with us. I see Kyle and Wenda is here. Debbie Collins is here. So folks, have a fantastic day. I hope something sizzling in the kitchen. I know some of you start lunch early. We're sending warmth north. You know, wherever it is this morning, we're sending some cyber warmth to you folks. Big hugs we're sending you guys. Stay warm. And it's getting very cold up north. Stay warm, guys. We don't envy y'all. No, we don't envy y'all. Come home if y'all want. And sharing this warmth and have a good old Guyanese Christmas if you can. Come home, the man. Shucks. Save the all the money there. Come home. Send us some. Contribute so we can keep on going. We'll come home to folks. Wenda, Marcia Jackman, Joylyn Cook, and all the other folks joining us. Kyle and Marcia Jackman. Folks, have a great rest of the day. That's going to do it for us at this end. That's we time. That's our time, and that's our program.